Because bear in mind he had 9mm with 15 rounds with him.
Yes, Commissioner.
So the complaint is only in regard to rubber rounds.
Yes, Commissioner.
Thanks.
Yes. At the railway line, along the railway line, as you testified. But in dealing with that topic, I want to highlight the evidence that was tendered before this commission by Brigadier Mkwanas. He testified that in the crowd management situation, it is important for operational commanders to have a dialogue with the protesters. And this is important in order to avoid a conflict between the police and the protesters. Do you agree with him on that one?
Negotiation, Chairperson.
Yes, negotiation or a dialogue. Okay. Do you agree with him?
Negotiation, Chairperson.
Yes, negotiation, I'm putting to you. You agree with him on that one. And he further testified before this commission that it's very important that the protesters must know the expectation of the police, and the police must also know the expectation of the protesters in any crowd management situation. You also agree with him on that one?
Correct, Chairperson.
So he further testified that, in fact, the conflict resolution module is offered as a course for POP trainees. And I hope you are an experienced a police officer and you have undergone that training on conflict resolution.
Question.
Yes.
Yes, well, I want to ask you with a question mark at the end. Have you undergone the training to which Council refers, conflict resolution?
It is a conflict resolution, but not with regard to POP matters, but it was just a course of conflict resolution.
Thank you very much. Would I be correct, General, that when you confronted those armed miners along the railway line, it is your evidence that you apply this principle of situationally appropriateness? And can I also assume that in applying that principle, you also take into consideration Exhibit WT5, specifically paragraph 6, the content of paragraph 6? I referred to you earlier on.
Correct, Chairperson.
So let us focus on how POP commanders are supposed to conduct a dialogue with protesters on the crowd management situation. So in this regard, General, I will focus on the SAP negotiation with the protesters on the 14th of August, and I will compare it with the one you conducted on the 13th of August 2012. Are you with me on that one?
I am with you, Chairperson.
On the 14th of August 2012, around 4:30 in the afternoon, McIntosh, when he negotiated with those protesters, he requested them to identify their leaders, and we saw video footage played before this commission. Some leaders of the group moving towards the Nyala, negotiating with the police. Did
Chair,
you see that?
That's not accurate. Lieutenant McIntosh didn't ask them to identify their leaders.
If I can put it correctly, I agree with my Leonard colleagues. On that video footage of the 14th of August, we saw the leaders of the group moving toward the Inyalas, and they negotiated with the police. That's what you observe in this commission.
How does my learned friend know those were leaders of the group?
Mr. Gumbi, isn't the evidence that what Colonel McIntosh did was asked that 5 people be identified by the protesters who would come forward to negotiate?
That's an evidence. It's fine, Commissioner.
They didn't say 5 leaders. They said identify 5 people to come and
Yes. We can call it maybe the delegates. Yes.
Chair, just to indicate that the statement of Lieutenant Colonel McIntosh states that he asked for 5 of their bravest men to come forward.
Triple H 14 is his statement.
That's correct. In paragraph 3 of the statement.
Chairperson, if may I clarify this point so that I won't invite...
You see, the way it reads in paragraph 3 is a bit ambiguous, actually. He says, I asked for 5 of their bravest men to come forward towards the Nyala vehicle so that I could speak and negotiate with them. We requested the leaders over and over again. And then in 4, paragraph 4,
Yes.
he says 5 of them came forward and so forth. And then later on, in his statement, he does use the expression leaders as well. You see, in paragraph 14, he says when he came back on the Wednesday, the 5 males with whom we talked the previous day were sitting on a large rock. All the men in the group, as well as the 5 leaders, were still heavily armed. So we followed the same procedure as the previous day and negotiated with the 5 leaders. So the objection taken wasn't entirely accurate. But anyway, it's quite clear the 5 people who came forward and negotiated with McIntosh are the ones that you were talking about. Is that right?
Yes, yes, Chairperson. Thank you very much,
Chair.
Chairperson.
Chair,
So,
may I just place on record? I think the question was about Brigadier McIntosh, is it Brigadier? Colonel McIntosh calling leaders. Well, Chair, the chairperson.
The proceedings are recorded. What he said is already on record. If you wish to raise an objection, you may do so. But you don't have to place things on a record that are already on record. Do you want to raise an objection?
Perhaps he can wait for re-examination, Chair. But what I wanted to say was
That sounds a good idea.
the
Let's carry on,
chairperson.
Mr.
Yes, General. On the 14th of August 2012, 5 men, whether you call them leaders or delegates, whatever, 5 men talk or negotiated with the police on behalf of the protesters. We saw that in this commission. Do you agree with me?
Correct, Chairperson, I saw it.
On the 13th of August 2012, when you confronted these armed miners along the railway line, you did not ask them to identify any person or any leader to talk on their behalf. We saw you just addressing the protesters as a group. Will you agree with me?
Yes, Chairperson, I agree that I did not ask them to identify the leaders. But the situation on the 13th and on the 16th is not the same. And also to confirm that even Colonel McIntosh and nobody at that stage ever knew who were the leaders.
Yes, I understand that.
Is there a further difference? Lieutenant Colonel McIntosh went to the Corpi to negotiate with the strikers. The present witness, as I understand it, didn't go to the railway line to negotiate with the people. He went to the railway line to tell them, all of them, that they were engaged in an illegal gathering, and to instruct them, all of them, to lay down their arms. So
Yes.
why did he have to follow the same procedure, according to you, which Lieutenant Colonel McIntosh followed when he was engaged in a different kind of situation?
He testified that he negotiated with them. I haven't seen anything on record to say he went, he approached the protesters and with an intention to instruct them clearly that they must disarm or disperse. I haven't seen anything from the record to that effect. If any of my colleagues have identified that, I'm open to withdraw my line of cross-examination around this aspect of negotiations.
If he wants to say something, because he's got his finger on the microphone button. Yes, Major General.
Chairperson, on Triple G 12, page 7, paragraph 7. I then gave them an ultimatum to drop their weapons by indicating to them that I was going to count to number 3. But even before that, I informed them that they were required to leave all the dangerous weapons on the ground, and we shall collect them after they have left and disperse. I undertook that we would not arrest them if they left the weapons and dispersed as requested. So I was not going to talk to an individual. I was going to talk to all the people and to tell them that you are involved in the illegal gathering and particularly the possession of dangerous weapons.
Yes, I understand your answer, General. Can I be clear on it? So, is it your testimony that on the 13th of August, when you approached this group of armed miners there, your intention was not to negotiate with them, but was to instruct them and tell them that they must disarm? If they failed to disarm, they were going to be dispersed and disarmed. Is it your testimony?
Chairperson, in terms of the policy, we are expected as a police to restrain ourselves, to act in a community-oriented manner. When you go to members of the public, as I refer them as protesters, I had to make them to understand the position of the police and also listen to them, and in the manner that I should convince them. If it could have been possible that I could convince them, then it was not the question of saying I'm going to instruct them, but that's why I used the term negotiation.
So you were going to negotiate with them, I understand you now. When you observe the video footage of the 13th of August 2012, while you were negotiating with the protesters, and there were other police officers that they were standing within the vicinity of those miners and within your vicinity. Did you see that?
Correct, Chairperson. I saw it.
Will I be correct, General, that while you were negotiating with the miners there along the railway line, did you instruct any of your members to remain inside the Inyalas while negotiating with them?
At that time, Chairperson, I did not instruct anyone to remain in the Nyala, but I was also personally, as a general, even closer to the protesters. Firstly is to show them that I don't treat them as criminals unless they behave in other way, but taking precautionary measures, because I know that the members were properly equipped, and I could not expose them to any danger. And properly so. I spoke to the protesters, and they could not act against us at that time.
After negotiating with those miners that they were along the railway line, the group informed you that they were not prepared to disarm, despite the fact that you advised them that it was illegally to be in possession of dangerous weapon. At that particular moment, General, did you inform your members now, after this negotiation, that they must remain inside Inyala?
No, Chairperson.
On the video footage presented before this commission, we saw you counted, I think, almost 10 times to allow the group to hand over their dangerous weapons. Before you made that counting,
It's not factually correct.
The objection?
It's not factually correct that the general counted up to 10.
No, Mr. Ngwale is correct. I think he only got as far as 3. He was going to count to 10, but he wasn't able to finish. Is that right?
it's okay,
Perhaps you
Chairperson.
could
Let's say it counted 3 times, it's fine, I accept that.
Reformulate the question to obviate the objection.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairperson. General, you counted 3 times to allow the member to hand over their weapon to you, to the police. Do you agree with me on that? Up to 3.
Chairperson, I did count.
It's fair enough. Whether you counted 3 times or not, it's fair. So before making that counting, whatever is 3 or is it 10 counting, did you instruct your members to remain inside the Nyalas while you were counting along the railway line?
Chairperson, I've already said that no.
So after counting, or before counting to say, did you instruct your members what will happen after your counting if the protesters, they were not prepared to hand over their dangerous weapon to you?
Correct, Chairperson.
Come again, General, I didn't get.
Correct, Chairperson.
You did not inform your members what will
I
happen.
did inform them.
Can you tell this Honorable Commission what you informed members what will happen if the protesters, they are not handing over their dangerous weapon to the police after your counting?
Chairperson, I did indicate to the members that we should not stop them or to disperse them in the manner that we are supposed to disperse them, but to make sure that we escort them to the copy. And I refer to my supplementary statements, the reasons why we could not disperse, and also the difference between myself and the approach of Lieutenant Colonel Merafe. That explains exactly what is that I expected from the police.
So according to your answer, General, all the members who were there, they knew very well what will happen after your counting if the protesters did not hand over their dangerous weapon to the police.
Chairperson, I said that I did brief the officers and I expected the officers to brief their members.
So let us focus on the protesters themselves now, the miners who were fully armed on that day along the railway line. Did you inform them what action will follow if they fail to hand over their dangerous weapon to the police after your counting?
Chairperson, the protesters themselves requested the police to escort them. That is contained in the statement of Mr. Nzuza himself. Secondly, I did ask them, where are you going to give us these weapons, these dangerous weapons? They said at the mountain. So the protesters themselves, they were aware, according to me from that communication, that we were not going to go back unless we get the weapons.
But you're not answering my question, General, with due respect. My question was, did you inform the protesters themselves what action will follow if they fail to hand over those dangerous weapons to the police after you have counted, whether 3 times or 10 times?
Chair, I know it's not my place to advise my little friend on how to cross-examine on this issue, but it might be easier for everyone if the clip were played, because now we're working on memory, and it's much easier when you can actually see what's being said and what's not being said.
Your learned friend has very kindly made a suggestion which you might consider it appropriate to follow. Is the clip readily available?
I don't know whether the clip is ready of the 13.
Chairperson's Exhibit Z, 1, 2, or 3.
Yes, Chairperson. If it can be played for the sake of the witness, I won't have any objection.
To understand it's your cross-examination. It's rather unusual for other counsel to make suggestions during the course of the cross-examination, but if you accept the suggestion, then it's still your cross-examination.
We don't have any objection, Chairperson. We accept it as long as it will assist the witness and the commission. I don't know whether the clip is ready. It can be played before the commission.
I think that they're about to show the clip.
Okay. Thanks very much.
I think that's it. Can we have some sound as well, please?
Singamaphoyisa sizela ngenxa into evelile manje sibe sizocela ke ukuthi asizanga sithi sizolibamba kodwa sinenkinga inkinga yethu yilezi zinto eniziphethe azikho emthethweni manje mayibeke nifuna kuhamba ngiqala umuntu ngamunye anginikeze lezi zinto hop lalelani ke lalelani Kalgi iso crazy oh no kupa one yeah everyone for mama azikho emthethweni so noma ngisuka lapha ngiyakulaba abasentabeni akufuzakanga ke kuthi nihlale ngalendlela niyenze nibuthabuthane ngoba noma ubuthana manje ufuze uyoqala ukubuthana niadresswe ngama-leaders away anifuzange kuthi nihlangane ngaleli hlobo ngoba ukuhlangana kwenu ngaleli hlobo alikho nasemthethweni manje ke size lapha sizonitshela leyo nto ukuthi ningaphindi futhi nihlangane ngaleli hlobo amaphoyisa amabe nihlangane ngaleli hlobo basenza ke bathi nihlukane masisuka lapha siya kulaba abasentabeni siyobatshela ukuthi anifuzanga ukuthi nihlale entabeni anifuzanga ukuthi nihlangane ngaleli hlobo anifuzanga ukuthi niphathe imkhonto lena ngoba imkhonto lena iphethe ayikho emthethweni nyoka into ebesona thina khona lapha kulo ndawo lo thina khona lapha lo manje utabambile yena thina ibuyile ngalo dlame lo sikhathi nacama ukuthi thina buyile ngalo bhetele thina hambani zonke tothe bo ndawo lethi nahlala lona sihlala laba tadabane la lo ndawo yena thina hambani zonke lo into lo thina ngazivuma yena lo kubamba lo manje lo manje so bhetele thamba lapho lo ndawo lo thina khona lapha kayena
General, you want to tell us something?
I just want to say I did inform them that after speaking to them, I will go to the mountain to tell those to the mountain that for them to gather there is illegal.
No, I've noted the chairperson. I was waiting for the video footage to continue. Yes.
You want more of the video clip to be shown?
Yes, up until the time when the general is doing some counting. Then I'll go back to my question.
So could we have the continuation of the clip up to the point where the general starts to count?
Yebo baba.
Baba wami. Nina maphoyisa straight. Nina maphoyisa straight. Thina khona lapha ka road me. Thina lungisa lo marika thina lapha road me. Thina jopa phansi mgodi. Thina iyilwa nalo munye umuntu yena khona lo into lo thina funa lungisa ngaba thina kumile lapha thina thola lo ma security lo ngalo mayi. Ayikhona nini? Yena khuluma zikho lo into lo thina funa bethe thina buyela muva. Yena zama kujubula lapha kathina. Yena khuluma yena kuyisa mpendu. Thina yilwa nalo zonke umuntu thina cela lo phela lapha. Nina umuntu ka lo government thina funa lo mali lo kathina lapha manje.
Yes.
Ngiyacela tata. Njengoba besivumelana ukuthi sicela ukuya le nani
Sabelana.
ezezinto sicela ukuthi ningazithisi sinike manje sihambeni uma ngabe lithatha ngothatha lesi zonke
Siyacela.
nihambe nathi mina ngokuba thina asinawulwa baba asilwi
Niyosinikeza zona kuphi? Laphi entabeni?
sisonke labo labo singasala bandabeni
Oh, belisentabeni.
sabuya lapha kule labo lo baphathi lo banapha lapho bona nikile thile lo mpendulo lo bana nikile thile ukuthi thina hambisa labo lo basebenza thina shile la thina cela nini namba nathile labo lo basebenza thina shile la yena lo sikhathi lo thina setha lo sigqibo ukuthi thina nika nina lo mayinto lo ninabuya nalo muntu lo thina funa lapha kathile lo mlungu loka lo mayini lo thina funa yena buyisa lo mpendulo loka lo mali lo thina funa yena lo into lo thina funa lapho thina ilwile nalo muntu lo thina xabanele yena lena chaya thina
Ayukuthi namoshile mona.
khulumile tata lapha thina imoshile isikhathi thina and thina sikhuluma one igama tasiphinda khuluma manje ndaba azikho magama ndaba nasikhuluma thina khulumile tata tata bonke mabahambe nathi siye kulo ndawo lo thina hlalile lapha kayena muva kaloko ninahamba buyisa lo mlungu loka lo mayini lo thina funa mali nabuyisa lo mpendulo loka lo mali ninabamba lo mayini lo thina sinikeza nina lo mayini lo thina ilwile nalo muntu lapho sukela thina qalile le into lo thina ilwile nalo muntu thina hambani zonke tinahamba labo lo ndawo lo thina khona muva kaloko ninabuya ninahamba labo lo management kathina lo sikhathi nafuna lo bakhokhela zikhona yena lapha kathina yena abantu banajoba mkhona kuphela lapha sikhona mkhokheli lapha kathina yena le nto tinacela lapha kanina lo sikhathi ninayilwa nathina thina hambani zonke lapha lo ndawo lo thina hlala yena lo sikhathi lo ninaziza lapha kathina ninakhuluma ninacela lo mayinto lo thina khulula yena ngalo nhliziyo lapho lo ndawo lo thina khona ninabuya nalo mlungu lo yena qashile thina nalo into lo nalo mpendulo lo thina funa lapha kayena futhi lo sikhathi ninabuya nalo mlungu thina zihlala lapho lo ntabo lihlala kwena thina zibuya lapha kanelo ndawo lo ninakhona ninatshela yena lo mlungu natshela thina kuphi isikhathi yena zinika lo into lo thina funa thina nina izibuya lapha kathina lo sikhathi ninacama nina zibuya lapha kathina yena khona lapho yena bukile thina ayilwa lo sikhathi lafikile lapho manje mqathi kathina yena ibuyile lapha kathina yena thumelile manje nebuyise lo mpendulo lo thina funa yena yeyona ndaba lo sikhathi nebuyise lo mpendulo thina kuphendukile thina buya muva thina ilwile thina hamba hlala lapho lo ndawo thina hlala ngalo mgqibelo thina buyile lapho lo ndawo kathina labantu ama-security kalo mayi yena fikile dubula thina nalabantu kalo nawo balabulala two muntu lapha kathina yena lo ndawo thina phathile lo into lo thina ilwile nalo muntu Tinacela kuphela thina nanina tinahamba lapha ndawo thinakhulumile lo mayinto le tinafuna tinahamba nika nina le lapha ndawo thinayiya sonke tinahamba nanina futhi lo buhlungu into lo peni lwami nayizwela ndaba sikathi nakhangela nina mina buka lo face lena fana nalo kamina kuphela mina izo buhlungu wabona isikhathi mina hamba bola lo nyama lwena kufanana na mina mina izo buhlungu siteleke laba mina buka nina kuphela asikolo
kufanele ukuthi usimamela manje
so yena lo ndaba mina
lwesiphetheni
yena into mina khuluma lo mento mina izo sikhathi unakhuluma so mina cela lo yena sicelo kathina thinakhuluma tinacela tinahamba nanina lapha tinahamba nika nina lo mayinto tinayinqaba asikho lona sihamba phambili asikho lona sihamba muva tinahamba nanina lo mento linajolile trahamba kuphela thina nto thinakhuluma siye kwendahleli kuyo nibuye nizocela izinto ezisifunayo isiphathele umqeshi wethu kule ndawo sikuyo sisentabeni apho sikhoyo kodwa ke sikhathi xa nisifuna sizoza kule ndawo nisifuna kuyo kule ndawo sizoya estadium kule ndawo nisifuna kuyo siyamamela uba umqeshi wethu uthini ngale nto esiyifunayo njengabhazanga ukuza kuthi ngalo losihlanu wena izwa tata thina yilwile nalapha kula mapolisa lokalo manje abuya lapha kayena thina yilwile thina khulumile fana kodwa banakhuluma thina hamba lapho lonana thina hlala banazibuya nalo mpepha ngale siyama lapho nina ifikile nabiza thina lapha ndaba lo mntwana nam yena thina dubula thina bulalile thumuntu lapha kathina manje yena lo intolo fana kalo lapho thina phathile fana ngaso thina yilwile nalo muntu lo thina cela ke botata ndaba thina zivalele thina solo ngoma kathina.
The police have given them ample time to negotiate. So these people didn't want to hand their weapons. So whatever action that is going to take place is because of they are not cooperating. Then I am still continuing the footage, but I'm cutting this for a moment.
We agree.
Yeah.
Nyakaunta ke. Nyakaunta. Yeah.
Yukutwa ya Kongo
Cela nini mamele thethe ligqibe ngoba njengangoku andibe sithe kuni cele kula maphoyisa emayi masihambe nezi siphindele phi phaya kulaa ndawo besihleli kuyo wona njengangoku aya kumanagement ezi zinto ngosicela kuni njengoba yawungawo emayini asilwi namntu kuphela athi ayasicela sibona asilwi namntu kuphela nawo ayazi nalasemarikana west unabantu abasilisayo ayacela sifonelwa phaya ke ngokuba la maphoyisa akhona esefikile ngapha lawo emayini asilindi uba masize sizobe feedback kumanagement uba uthini na ngosicela ntoni ke ngoku sithi sicela nje indlela bathi sikhululeni nisigade asimoshi mzi wamntu asityi into yamntu kuphela sicela ntoni xa sifika phaya kulaa ndundulu nizatsho nifike ke ngoku le nto esiziphetheyo sizawuza kuwe baba sithi
Tata,
baba ngicela
no, tata ngithe anginankinga nani ngifuna imkhonto nje. Phela
sithi baba
ngifuna imkhonto. Ngifuna imkhonto. Phela yonke into ene manje mangingatholi imkhonto ngeke ngimdedele. Yeah. And I think we have
Yes, Chairperson, I think the video footage is finished. We can carry on with our cross-examination if the technician can stop it.
Thank you for showing us that part of the video clip. You want to continue now with your cross-examination?
Yes, Chairperson. So, let us go back to my question, General. You saw the video footage there. In that video footage, and I wanted you to take into consideration the transcript of that address, of your address, that was entered into as Exhibit WQ13. Are you in possession of it? WQ13.
Correct, Chairperson, I do have it.
Okay, let's go back to my question. when you analyze that video footage together with this exhibit WQ13 I referred to you, will you agree with me, General, that we don't see you informing the protesters that what action will follow if they fail to hand over their dangerous weapon to the police?
And I thought Mr. Gumbi says here, if you don't give us those weapons, we won't allow you to go.
Yes.
That's what he said.
Yes. If I can elaborate on that one and clarify that point. In that video footage, General, you indicated to the protesters that you are not going to allow them to proceed, ne? If they don't hand over their dangerous weapon to the police. Are you with me on that one?
Correct, Chairperson.
And you did not inform the protesters that the police are going to disperse them if they don't hand over their dangerous weapons.
I did indicate to them that I am going to the mountain. And they themselves, every speaker that stood up there, indicated and requested actually the police to accompany them to the mountain. So they were clear that we are not going to leave them. But the only thing that I did not tell them is that we will not force them, we will not act in the manner that I told the police that we should force them. Because I've made it clear that according to the situational appropriateness, we could not force them or do any other matter to get those firearms. But they were aware that what is going to happen even if after I've counted the protesters themselves as well as the police.
I understand your answer, General, but that was not my question. I'm saying to you, General, you did not inform the protesters that if they refuse to hand over their dangerous weapon, the police will disperse them. You did not convey that information.
Chairperson, I said that is very clear. It's very clear even on the video there.
I understand the content of the video, General. We have a transcript of what you conveyed to the miners along the railway line. So my question I'm saying to you, you did not inform the miners that if they refuse to hand over their dangerous weapon, the police will disperse them.
But why would he do that? Because he already told the police, we can't. It's a situational situation. The situational appropriateness, I don't know how you call it, was such that they couldn't do that. Why do you want him to say that not to them when he has already said to the members, we can't? It's clear from these statements that they didn't agree because he said, no, the situation is that we can't disperse these people now.
Yes, I understand the information, Commissioner, here related to the police. I was focusing on the information here related to the protesters after he counted whether 3 times or 10 times. That's my focal point. I do understand the information here related to the police.
But my question is, why should he say to them, if you don't hand over those weapons, we are going to disperse you, when in fact he was not going to do it? Why should he tell them that?
Fair enough, Commissioner. I can move on that particular aspect. Maybe I can revisit it later on during the course of my cross-examination.
Sorry, Mr. Gumbi, I don't quite understand the point you're trying to make. We don't want to stop you from making a point that you consider important for your client's case. But what exactly is the point? Can you explain it to me? Or would you prefer not to explain it at this stage, but deal with it later? I'm in your hands.
It's fair enough, Chairperson. I've noted the concern of the Commissioner. I'll park that point. I'll revisit it again, whether I wanted to pursue it or not.
As long as you don't
Yes.
get the impression that we're trying to prevent you from putting your case, because that's not our intention, but we want to understand your case, and we want it to be put fairly, obviously. But I'm not sure, I am sure that you're not intending to put it unfairly, so...
Yes, Chairperson. I've noted that. General, the protesters, they refused to hand over their dangerous weapon. We saw the video footage. They decided to proceed with their march. And we saw one of the police officers near the big rock who was in position of a shotgun trying to block or to prevent the protesters from carrying on with their march. Did you see that?
Correct, Chairperson, I saw it.
So that police officer we saw in position of a shotgun, did you instruct that police officers to block these miners who were proceeding with their march?
No, Chairperson, as I indicated that the most junior members, they were working also under their officers.
So you assume that police officers was instructed by one of the operational commanders to block those armed protesters. Is that correct?
According to my understanding, Chairperson, is that he did not block because the protesters did walk there and he didn't even shoot at them. So maybe he is in a better position to say what actually he was trying to do. But actually what I expected from the officers at that time, at that moment, it did happen.
Yes, but we saw him stepping back when the protesters approached him and he allowed them to proceed.
Chairperson, I didn't see any protester pushing the police officer.
I didn't use the word push. We saw that police officer stepping back and we saw the protesters moving and proceeding with their march.
Correct, Chairperson.
And you did not instruct that police officers to stand there, whether to block or to prevent those marchers who were proceeding with their march.
Correct, Chairperson.
So after the protesters had breached that police line, we can call it a police line, or after that a police officer attempted to block the protesters, would I be correct again, General, that at that particular moment, you did not even instruct your members again to remain inside their inyalas while these marchers they are proceeding with their march?
Chairperson, I only said that they should escort them.
So after they have proceeded with their march, would I be correct, General, then, that at that particular moment you made a decision that you are going to escort them, the marchers, towards the copy?
Chairperson, the decision was not made at that time. It was before that time, before I count.
When you made the decision to escort the protesters from the railway line towards the copy, would I be correct, General, that as an experienced operational commander, it's very important to inform your operational members or whoever involved there that now you've made a decision that by applying the principle of situational appropriateness, you've made a decision that now you're escorting the miners towards the copy. You have to convey that information clearly to all the parties who are there.
Correct, Chairperson, and it was done.
And would I be correct also again, General, that an experienced operational commander like you will also inform his members the road to be used by the protesters from the railway line on their way to the copy?
Chairperson, as I indicated and as I said on the video, I said the protesters, we are not going to let them go. And when they have left, we have to escort them, take into account of the situational appropriateness. The route to be determined, it is the one that I said before. Why the sensitivity of the informal settlement?
Yes, but you informed your police officers that this is the route that is going to be used by the protesters from the railway line on their way to the Kopi. You did inform them clearly.
Chairperson, I did not speak about the route. I only said the key areas, including informal settlement and also on the other side, the mine shaft. Take into account the briefing with regard to the sensitivity with regard to that, but not to say this specific route.
Don't you think, General, it was important to, because we do have other members who were mobilized from other provinces, to inform them clearly of the route to be used from the railway line towards the Kopi?
Chairperson, I was present there, and members of the POP of Rustenburg, they were also there, and I indicated that Colonel Merafe said that since I'm working with them, we will also orientate them. Correct, Chairperson.
So all the members also again were there, they were fully aware that they must protect the informal settlement on their way towards the Kopi while escorting these marchers.
Chairperson, I briefed the officers and I expected the officers to brief their members.
And again, General, did you inform all the police officers who were there that while they were escorting these miners from the railway line on their way to the Kopi, whether they're going to use nyalas to escort them and channel them on their way to the Kopi from the railway line?
Chairperson, officers and members were issued with nyalas. They were issued with all the equipment. The only issue that I spoke about is the informal settlement. So each officer and each member, they have a discretion to utilize in terms of when to use this equipment. So for the fact that I was working with POP members that know exactly what they're supposed to do, that I could see that it has to be complied with. But with regard to the safety of the members, yes, Chairperson, I did take that into account. Hence, I applied situational appropriateness as an intervention principle.
So do I understand your answer, General, that you did not inform your members to use nyalas to escort the miners from the railway line towards the Kopi? You did not issue that instruction.
Correct, Chairperson.
And furthermore, General, you did not even instruct your members to remain inside the nyalas while escorting these miners on their way to the Kopi. Did not issue that instruction on that day.
Correct, Chairperson. And also to go out from the nyalas.
We know before this commission, General, that there were other units that were involved in this operation. We have TRT unit, POP unit, and NIU unit. And especially TRT unit and NIU, they are not specialized when it comes to crowd management situation. You agree with me?
Correct, Chairperson.
So as an experienced operational commander, will you agree with me that in such a situation where we have other units that are not specializing on crowd management, an operational commander will inform his subordinate commanders where to position themselves while they're escorting miners from the railway line towards the Kopi?
Chairperson, I did inform the commanders.
So all the commanders who were there, the TRT commanders, NIU commanders, they knew very well where to position themselves while escorting these miners.
Correct, Chairperson.
So while you are escorting these protesters from the railway line, General, will you agree with me if I put the following preposition that In such a situation, an operational commander will instruct one of the Inyalas, maybe, to lead the protesters on their way towards the copy in order to channel them is another way of leading them towards the correct route to be used.
I don't agree, Chairperson.
So, the protesters on the 13th of August 2012, you decided to escort them without leading them. Did you know the route that they were going to be used on their way towards the copy?
Chairperson, the video is very clear. And what I told the protesters is very clear. It is not a planned operation whereby you sit around with the protesters and you determine the routes, you agree, and you lead them. Chairperson, I said, ngeke ngindedele. Maybe I should speak the language of the advocate, meaning that I am not going to release you if you don't give me fire. They forced their way. And when they forced their way, I took a decision in which members were informed that situational appropriateness is going to be applied. Hence, the members could not act at that time. Secondly, Chairperson, I told the protesters that I am going to the mountain. The protesters, they themselves, speaker after speaker, requested us, the police, to go with them at the mountain. So, Chairperson, nobody there, including protesters, could ever say we did not know what was expected.
I understand your explanation, General. But my question is, did you know the road to be used by the protesters from the railway line towards Kopi? That was my question.
Chairperson, my answer was very clear, no, because protesters forced their way out, and there was no way that I could communicate with them which road to take.
Thank you very much, General. According to Exhibit Triple H 16.1 and Triple H 16.2, you follow the protesters and you form the curved police line behind the protesters. Still remember that I'm in position of Exhibit Triple H 6.1 and 16.2.
I do remember it, Chairperson. I just wanted to look at it now from the documents that I'm having.
Those documents, they were introduced by the evidence leaders during their cross-examination. There are two documents.
Yes, Chairperson, I do have it.
That's the police line you formed behind the protesters when you made a decision to escort them. Do you see that?
Which one, Chair? The 16.1 and the 16.2?
Yes, Chairperson. It's Exhibit Triple H 16.2.
Chairperson, I see it.
So while we are still on that exhibit, General, can I also assume that the police who were following these protesters from the railway line on their way to the copy, we have different units that they were involved here. Would I be correct that that police line behind the protesters was formed by POP, TRT, and NIU members?
Correct, Chairperson. They were the units that were present on that day with their commanders.
Can I also again, Chairperson, I do apologize, Chairperson, General, refer you to the list of shooters of the 13th of August 2012. It's not yet entered as an exhibit, Chairperson.
A copy of that document.
You must have it, Chairperson, in your bundle.
I don't ask you whether I must have it. I ask you, do we have it?
Yes.
What does it look like?
It was circulated by evidence leaders. It's number 32.
Is it this document?
Yes, one-page document.
All right. So that would be exhibit 888-23, right?
23, yes.
That's correct.
Chairperson, according to the exhibit list, is FF35. I don't know whether it's an exhibit number.
Not that one is one page. It's for the 13th of August 2012.
But Chair, the document the General is referring to is the list of shooters at scene 1.
Yes.
This is the list of shooters on the 13th.
Okay. Is this the document being referred to?
That's correct.
So that will be, I'll mark that, shall I? Triple H 23, how do I describe it? Shortists.
Chair, it's a schedule reflecting the list of shooters
So
on the
shortists,
13th.
shortists. On 13,
On 13th
8,
of August.
12. Right. Now that we've got the list of shortists, I suggest we take a 10-minute adjournment for tea.
23.
Mateo, I've never heard about an evidence leader.
The Commission resumes. Major General, you're still under oath, but I understand you told my colleague, Advocate Kota, during the adjournment that you've actually got a very, very bad headache. Is that correct?
Correct, Chairperson.
Yeah. Well, I think it's inappropriate for us to continue. It's bad enough to have to concentrate on every question and to concentrate on giving a correct answer, but if you've got a distraction like a headache, it's not fair, I don't think. So would you agree with that statement of the situation?
Correct, Chairperson.
So we'll start again on, we can't sit tomorrow, because this is the third Wednesday, it'll be the third Wednesday of the month. And the council chamber will be required for committee meeting. So we will adjourn at this stage until Thursday at 9:30. We will, I hope we'll know by then, I was told we would know by then, what the situation is in regard to possible funding. If the answer is in the negative, it'll be necessary for us to have a meeting, I think, the parties' representatives, to decide what we're to do and how we to respond to the situation that there's no funding. We will know, I hope, in the course of the afternoon. I will ask Ms. Pillay to send an email to the parties' representatives informing them whether we're going to meet. I take it to be the most sensible thing would be to meet in the Commission's offices in Momentum Building in Pretoria. The question, of course, is whether I should be at the meeting or whether not. If it's possibly, it's best that the parties meet in my absence, so they can say what they want to say about me behind my back, and then the result of the meeting can be reported in due course. Is that correct? In other words, you don't have to meet in the Commission's offices, and possibly Ms. Pillay can indicate if there's going to be a meeting in her email where the meeting will be.
Chair, what has done is an email has gone to the parties advising that provisionally we will meet at 9:30 tomorrow in Sandton. And
you mean?
In Sandton.
In Sandton.
Chambers. And if that's in the event that we have the bad news that we have no good news. But if we do get good news in the interim that funding has been provided, everyone will be notified and the meeting will then not proceed.
Sorry, it wasn't recorded. We will adjourn until 9:30 on Thursday morning.